So there's a deer, some species of nuisance deer on Vancouver Island. That's just off the coast of Vancouver, British Columbia. And this deer apparently, for some reason, either it's too elusive, too smart, too small, I don't know, can't be hunted by regular hunters. We have to bring people in from off continent to hunt these things for us. So tell us about this story.
Yeah, well, I mean, previously on Vancouver Island, 1,800 of these deer have been killed through traditional hunting methods, right, by hunters. But for some reason, I guess that's not good enough. They say these are nuisance deer that are chewing down the vegetation and it's not able to recover at a proper rate. So what did they do? They went out and hired foreign contractors to come in on helicopters with semi-automatic assault-style firearms, restricted 223 firearms with suppressors and full-capacity mags, and mow these deer down, which to me is pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, it's not like groceries are so cheap that we shouldn't need to worry about harvesting any of the meat from these animals. But yeah, I don't know. It's upside down world here in Liberal Canada.
Yeah. So it's funny because I think there was some messaging from the government about using firearms like that for hunting. Wait a second. I think I have a clip.
Used. The AR-15 example was designed for soldiers to use in a combat situation to kill enemy soldiers. Designed for military use, designed for soldiers to kill soldiers. Soldiers to kill soldiers. We are today ending the availability of weapons that were not designed for hunting or for target shooting. Guns that belong on a battlefield.
These weapons were designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time. There is no use and no place for such weapons in Canada.
And that's because those weapons are not for hunting. They aren't for shooting a prairie chicken or scaring off a bear. They're designed for only one purpose: to kill people and to look like they can kill people.
Just be very clear. What we have done is we have prohibited weapons that were not designed for hunting or for sports purposes, but rather designed for military use, for soldiers to use in combat. There is no place for those weapons in our civil society.
But we know you do not need a military-grade assault weapon, one designed to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time, to take down a deer. But you don't need an AR-15 to bring down a deer.
So just so I'm clear, the Liberal policy is you do not need an AR-15 to hunt a deer until you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, these contractors also, out of all the animals that they slaughtered using this method, 20% of them were even the wrong species. So I don't know, just a bizarro story coming out of the West. I don't understand it.
Well, and it cost a pile of money.
Oh yeah.
That, you know, taxpayer. I mean, I think every province is in deficit every year. The federal government is so deep in deficit, we may not ever be able to climb out of it ever. And they're just like, yeah, we need to spend $1 million doing this. We can't just have open season for hunters. I mean, hunters would probably, because these deer are small, is my understanding. I'm not an expert in that stuff. Everybody knows
they
that.
are. They're smaller, but they're still edible.
Yeah, and they're edible. But you know, they might even be more of a challenge to hunt. There are hunters across probably across Western Canada that would have traveled to take part in that hunt at no cost to the taxpayer.
Absolutely.
And of course,
there would have been.
Well, yeah, and of course the operative part of this story, the most outrageous part is they let foreigners come in, shoot from helicopters, pay them to do it, let them use prohibited rifles with suppressors, with full capacity magazines. How come these guys couldn't have used 5-round magazines? I mean, who needs a 30-round mag? I mean, and then on top of that, and I don't want to go on and on about it, but it's like people need to understand why this is so outrageous. It's like even the conservation services, oh yeah, now I remember, it was BC and the Yukon, I think. Both had done extensive studies. This was part of the evidence package in our lawsuit against the government, and found that the most effective hunting rifle and also predator defense rifle is the AR-10 platform. An AR-15 platform was the AR-10 in 308. And that's what they equipped their conservation officers with. But hey,
yeah, they're ideal.
You don't
It's
need
perfect.
an AR-15 to bring down a deer. That is not for hunting. It's completely, it just doesn't exist. You just don't hunt with it, other than when the government wants to hunt. It just, and people wonder why reasonable people start getting really, really angry, because they're like, okay, here's the reality. Yep, never mind. Here's the reality. Oh, back to this reality. And they just keep switching back and forth while they accuse everyone else of spreading misinformation. So yes, that's why people get angry, and it's completely reasonable. But anyway, what a weird, weird story.
Yeah, really weird. And I know it made the rounds on social media, and people were just like, what?
Yeah.
And yeah, me included. I'm a hunter. And I was like, what is going on in this country?
But that's, anyway, it just, but that's our government. That's the government that's in place right now. It's just everything is inverted, you know?
Yeah.
Don't ever think you should shoot a deer with an AR-15. Okay, we're going to bring people in from out of the country to shoot deer with AR-15s. Nobody needs a suppressor. We're gonna let them use suppressors. We don't want to disturb everybody.
Oh yeah.
And high capacity magazines. Nobody needs more than 5 rounds. Except
they're spraying and praying out the side of a helicopter. Like, come on.
Nobody needs more than 5 rounds, unless they're people we bring in from out of province, out of the country. Then they'll need 30. Like that's the reasoning.
Instead of spending a whole bunch of tax dollars on this, they probably could have made money. I think I probably would have paid to go and do it myself. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? I get to hang out of a helicopter with full capacity magazines and just spray and pray all over the place. And it doesn't even matter if I'm hitting the right species, apparently. Like, what?
Totally.
What?
Totally. And I'm not, and no joke, okay, like completely serious. Like no more joking around. Like I was thinking of like a trip of a lifetime to go down to Texas or Oklahoma or wherever to do that helicopter hunting thing for hogs, because hogs are basically destroying the state, right? So they're trying to attract people from out of the country to come and do this heli hunting, full auto, with an AR-15,
that's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Except full auto version, select fire. And it's $5,000 US for, I think you go up twice for an hour each time. So 2 hours. And I'm like, I just can't spend that money. Like I'm not rich, right? So I'm like, I can't justify that. But man, I probably could have squeezed out $2,000 to do that on Vancouver Island.
Me too. I'd be there right beside you. Like, oh yeah, I'd be all in on this. They could have made some money.
They could have made $1 million eradicating those deer. But whatever, man. This is how the government works, and it's, I don't want to go on about it, but it's just, to me, it is absolutely fascinating how time after time after time people make the same mistakes over and over again. Like the Trans Mountain Pipeline, I think we were talking earlier, a private company was going to build that pipeline in Western Canada. I think it's from the oil sands to the coast of British Columbia or something like that. And they were going to build it to no tax, not $1 to the taxpayer. It was all going to be built as per standards. The Trudeau Liberals, I know this is shocking, get involved in it. And now it's going to be $40 billion by the time it's done. Borrowed money at interest to the taxpayer. I mean, this is...
Yeah, and it's still not done.
Yeah. And they're like, wait a minute, maybe there's another way that costs us nothing. We could make money. It's like, oh, no.
No, let me meddle in there.
That's hate speech.
Screw everything up.
Yeah, that's hate speech.
Remember, if you don't stand up for your own ability to own and use firearms, who will? Join the CCFR or donate right now at www.firearmrights.ca.